the next thing that they use the most would be for math and ELA. So I'll show you where to get most of the things that you would need for math. Like I had mentioned to you, I do have a master copy of all the homework pages in a binder I'll kind of show you where I organize all the math stuff. And if for some reason one of those is missing, if I skipped one, then I'll show you where you can print out new homework if you need to. So the main things that I use are daily review, which is just a 3-question worksheet, but I think while you're here, we'll just have them skip daily review and go right into the visual learning video and then working in their workbook. So once you open Savvas, which is our math program, you're gonna wanna come over here. I have grade 1 and grade 2 since I was teaching 2nd grade before. Make sure you click on the grade 1, and then over here on the side are gonna be all the units. So you guys should be in unit 9, but you might finish 9 and 10. I don't remember how far you'll get in the curriculum while I'm gone. So we'll go to topic 9, and then each of the lessons are labeled over here on the side. So on the side, it'll be lesson 9-1, 9-2, 9-3, 9-4, and so on. Those are all gonna correspond with, you'll see these at the title on plan book for the lesson plan. So you'll know what lesson you're on next. So let's say on your first day, you're gonna be starting with 9-2. So you're gonna click on 9-2 here. And if you scroll down, like I said, there's a ton of different things here. You only need a couple of these. So the visual learning video, that's exactly what it's called. You'll hit that and open it up to play it for them. It'll usually pause a few times to ask some questions to have the class answer. You can have them answer that in any way you choose. And then after they finish the visual learning video, all they need to do is go back to their workbooks, and I do all that work underneath the camera. So they follow along with me. Your teacher manuals will have all the answers. It'll even have things you can say and ways to guide them through the math lesson as you work together. And then down below, here's where you would find homework if somehow it went missing or you need a new one. So where it says interactive additional practice, you would click here on these 3 dots. And you click on teacher resources, and then you go to printable additional practice. So once you click on this, all you'd have to do is hit print. I recommend printing it at 90% instead of 100%. So I usually go over here and change on the more settings. So you wanna make sure every time you print, it says black and white, or else it won't print because we're not allowed to do color. Down here for the scale, you would just change that to 90 first, because sometimes the bottom of the worksheet gets cut off. But besides that, you just make sure that those are all copied, prior to that day. I usually make the copies for the week before, and I put them over in the drawers on the side so the week is ready to go. But if you forget any day and need to print it off, that's always available to you there, as long as they have their homework packed up before the end of the day and they're able to get that math homework done. And then the only other thing you would need sometimes is when you're starting a new topic, it would be over here on the side. So I'm already gonna be starting topic 9 with them before I leave. But this is the first thing you would play, is the animated math story. So you would click on that. It's just a little video that kind of introduces what that theme is gonna be for that unit, for that standard. You would just play it. So for example, when you guys finish topic 9, after you've gone through all the lessons, you'll notice there's some review pages in their workbook that are usually green and then purple, then red. So I usually go over those. You'll see that in the lesson plans as well. It'll say exactly, what reteaching sets to do, going over everything of that unit. So I usually spend 2 days doing review once we finish the last lesson. So after you finish lesson 9-6, you would spend a couple days in the workbook only. That means no videos or anything that they'd be working in there. Up to you. I'll usually have them use one of those workbook pages as homework, but you'll see what homework I put in plan book. But again, you can do it however you would like. The only other thing you would need here is the topic 9 assessment. Every time you finish the topic and you do your 1 to 2 days of review, then you would go the next day and do their assessment. So you would just click on topic 9 assessment here, and then you would print it. So there's an editable assessment as well that you could use, like if some of the assessments are super long. So if it's a really long one, I might delete out some questions, or ones that I know, hey, this is gonna be way too challenging. I'll delete those out or change the wording a little bit for them. Don't worry about editing so much, but again, if you notice like it's a 4-page test and you wanna edit out some questions, feel free to do that. You would just print this. The other thing you would need pops up automatically when you open the assessment, and it's the answer key. That's just to help you grade it. So you would print off the answer key here, and then it'll tell you how many points each question is. So you're able to grade, and that will help you kind of factor in their proficiency when you're putting in grades in Gradebook. So there might be 1 or 2 different standards that get hit on each assessment or in each unit. So in this place value unit, there might be a couple standards that you'll see that they're hitting. So generally, rule of thumb is if they're doing about 80%, then they're proficient, you would give them a 3. If they're scoring below 80%, then I would give them a 2 for developing on that skill. And hopefully Mrs. Kruger is a really good resource if you're having a hard time for grading, especially because obviously I won't be here for this whole quarter. You're going to hit a lot of math standards that we haven't done yet, because it's a bunch of new standards every quarter. So you'll be having to evaluate their proficiency on those standards. But Mrs. Matt, Mrs. Kruger are all really good resources to go to. Besides that, there's not really much you need in math. But if there is anything that you're realizing you're missing, you can always just kind of explore those math pages to see what are some other things that they have here. But those are the main ones, just the homework, the tests at the end of the unit, and the visual learning videos for math.